147 looked chaseable for India against New Zealand in the third and final test at Wankhede, but then India made a complete mess of it. They lost wickets at regular intervals and eventually were bundled out for 121, losing the test by 25 runs. And in return, India suffered a 3-0 whitewash at home. Here's a look at how the experts and the fans reacted to India's whitewash that they suffered against the Kiwis, who achieved a remarkable feat in the subcontinent conditions. Well, Virender Sehwag, he did not really mince words when he reacted to India's series defeat. He said that while as supporters, it's important to support the Indian team, but this has been a terrible performance from Rohit Sharma and company. The skill to play spin certainly needs an upgrade, and certain experimentations are good for the shorter format, but in test cricket, doing some needless experiments just for the sake of it is indeed poor. Well, I think what Sehwag is really pinpointing here is the fact that India are really going out all guns blazing in test cricket now. They have really had a change in approach ever since Gautam Gambhir has taken over as the head coach from Rahul Dravid, and that's where maybe, just maybe, Sehwag feels that sometimes sticking to textbook test cricket may just be of help, and that is something that India might have to look forward to come the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Well, Irfan Pathan also shared his unfiltered thoughts. He said that this is an embarrassing display by Team India at home. Lot to ponder over by the decision makers. Well done, New Zealand, on such a terrific performance. And this is where Irfan had an interesting thing to share. He said that, he had a solid conversation with his elder brother Yusuf Pathan yesterday. And Yusuf Pathan made a valid point about domestic cricket. We are either playing on grassy pitches or on flat pitches, but rarely on turning surfaces anymore. Plus, top players aren't really playing domestic cricket. This could hurt us in the long run. Well, if we look at, some of the individual performances that have been there from the youngsters who have come from the domestic ranks, in case of Sarfaraz Khan, he did well with that 150 on the green track in Bengaluru, something that he has had the experience of playing, red ball cricket in the domestic matches, but he couldn't really step up to the plate in those spinning conditions in Pune and at the iconic Wankhede. And in case of Rajat Patidar also, who was promoted to a test role against England earlier in 2024 after having a good domestic season or two, well, once again, he was also the one who did not really do well in spin conditions. And maybe this is the right time to make sure that, there are those spin pitches there in the local conditions so that the youngsters come ready when they are promoted to the international level. Well, Michael Vaughan, he lauded the Kiwis here. He said that to win in India is an incredible, but to deliver a clean sweep is remarkable. Has to be the greatest ever test series victory for New Zealand, and it is. Obviously, India now have a group of batters that struggle like most teams against spin. And that is pretty much, I think that pretty much sums up India's performances against New Zealand. They have been pretty ordinary, and that's where I think the likes of Rohit Sharma and company will really have to watch out for come the Border Gavaskar Trophy. And obviously the Australians who might think to field a couple of spinners, knowing that India are fragile against slow bowlers. Well, Sanjay Manjrekar also had a comment. He said that, and with that, we come to the end of a long phase of rank turners in India. And obviously, rank turners in the past 7 years or so haven't really worked well for India. You lost to England again, you lost to Australia in Pune in 2017. You once again lost to Australia in Indore in 2023. And then there was a defeat that came against England earlier this year in Hyderabad. However, you did really do well in the first couple of innings in Hyderabad, but then in the fourth innings, when it really mattered the most, when you had to chase about 220 or 230 odd, that's when you floundered against spin. Well, moving to Bhajji's straight talk here, he said that turning pitches have become your own enemy, and that's really the case with India. Congratulations, New Zealand, you have outplayed us. Been saying many years, Team India needs to play on better pitches. These turning pitches making every batter look very ordinary. And he also went on to say that the bowlers don't necessarily have to be of the quality of a Saklain Mushtaq or a Muthaiya Muralidharan to bowl on those rank turners, because even those ordinary bowlers are going to take the wickets that's going to hurt an opposition like India or anyone who is batting here. Well, moving to some fan comments here, RC Addict, he said that, sack Gautam Gambhir as coach. We've already lost a series against Zimbabwe. I can't really recall a series loss against Zimbabwe. There was a match lost shortly after the T20 World Cup against Zimbabwe, but then Gautam Gambhir was not really the coach. You did lose to Sri Lanka, and now obviously you've lost to New Zealand. BCCI, it's time to appoint a new coach. Also, Rohit and Virat should consider retirement. Well, not really sure whether they should consider retirement or not, but then the Border Gavaskar Trophy is going to be the ultimate test, the litmus test, and if they don't really do well there, well, it could really be curtains for them. Well, another fan, Amrish Pratapi, said that everyone's talking about the needing of T20 specialists, but the same goes for Test. Rohit and Kohli should start considering if it's time to move on, as their peak may have already passed. The best players know when to retire at their peak, and maybe this is one thing that could be addressed after the Border Gavaskar Trophy. And I think last but not the least, the result of cricketers playing more IPL matches T20s than domestic cricket Test is clearly visible. Obviously, there has been more focus on IPL, on white ball cricket, and that is one of the major reasons why your Test stalwarts haven't really been able to do well, and that's why the importance of a certain Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid, VVS Lakshman and Virender Sehwag can now be realized that how they really helped India bail out of those difficult situations when they faced, in those turning tracks or those tricky tracks. Now, India definitely have a tall order in front of them when it comes to Australia. And Australia would also know that India might have improved against pace, and that's where they would want to doctor their pitches accordingly so as to make sure that they can play on India's weakness, which is obviously turning out to be spin. What do you think? Can India really make a comeback in the Border Gavaskar Trophy and stay alive for a place in the World Test Championship final? Or will Australia be really smart and play on India's weaknesses? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis from the sporting world.